All right, everybody. So for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Derek Miller. I'm one of the area coordinators that works for residential education campus housing. And with me today is our director, Elizabeth Cleany, and another area coordinator of Cabernet Village, Callie Spinney. And we're going to jump right in and kind of alternate slides as we go through things. The first thing I want to know is, can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. I'm getting some thumbs up, so that's great. There is a chat window that all of you can see. Callie and I are going to be trading off, kind of moderating those chats. So if you have questions or specific things, you can type those in there, and Callie or I will get to you while we're talking. So let's go ahead and jump in. We want to show you as much as we can, but we only have about 28 minutes to do that. So we're going to go relatively quickly through this. So on your screens, you'll see what we're covering today. We're going to take a look at some apartments and communities. We're going to go through housing application costs and deadlines, and then try, with any time that we have left, to answer some of your questions. So the first one is here, and Callie's going to take it from here.
Okay, so this is a little video tour we did of one of the apartments in Cabernet. So entering through the front door, you have a living room to the side here. All the furniture you see in the video is provided by the university. So the couch and the chairs and the lamp. On the opposite side of the living room, we do have the kitchen table there with 5 chairs, so one for each person. The ground floor units in Cabernet do have patios, so there's a nice little outdoor area. And then a full kitchen in Cabernet. So gas stove, refrigerator, freezer, the microwave is provided, so you don't need to worry about purchasing that, and then plenty of storage for you. Then you move down a hallway. There is a small coat closet in the hallway, so go and you can use that to store all of your jackets and things, so it doesn't take up room in your bedroom closet. All of Cabernet also has some really nice storage options. So this is what the storage looks like in most of the units. In Merlot, there's kind of some cubbies in the hallway, but it adds up to about the same amount of space. This is the double room in Cabernet. So the 2 beds there. There are drawers. There's the 2 stackable dresser drawers. Right now they're under the bed, but you can pull those out and stack them on top of each other to have a standard dresser. Nice big closet in there, and then the desks with the hatch on there. And the other bedroom in Cab is a triple. The thing about the triples in Cab is that all the beds are lofted in the triple, so that's something to keep in mind. Make sure that you're okay with getting up and down out of a high bed, that you're not afraid of heights or anything like that if you want to live in the Cabernet triple. And then everyone still has the desks and the dressers. We do put a wardrobe into the triple room just to give you a little bit more space for your clothing, since it's still that same size closet. Those doors you see in the video ahead of you right now, that's also some additional storage outside of the bathroom. And then our bathrooms in Cab, they are split, which is kind of nice. So you have the sinks out in this first room here, the double sink. And then the shower is in the interior room with the door in between. So that way someone can be showering, getting ready for class while someone else is brushing their teeth. So it does make it a little bit easier for folks to be getting ready, getting ready in the morning if you all have class at similar times. So that's basically what Cab looks like. The video is just gonna continue going on the way out, but Derek, you can probably, for the sake of time, keep moving forward.
All right, and so this is our next stop at Verdot. So Verdot, we're going to come in and you'll see, similar to most apartment layouts on campus, there's going to be a common area immediately as you come in. These are between 5-person suites, 9-person suites, or shared single suites. And if you look at the left side of the screen in the blue, you'll see some of the details there. But you're going to come in and see this common space, which is going to kind of divide off into the living areas themselves. So when we come in here, we have another separated bathroom where you have the toilet on the left and a shower on the right in their own individual spaces. There's a closet for storage here. You can see in this space, this is where we've got the toilet, and then there's a bit of a wraparound space so that you can put shelving or anything else you might need. A couple of towel racks in there.
Derek, I'm going to jump. Can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
So So with Verdot, we have 2 suite style accommodations on campus. They're located in the Verdot Village and also the Zinfandel Village. And for time management, we're just showing what our Verdot Village looks like. But again, this is one of our residential suites or a suite style setting. So it looks fairly similar if you were assigned over in the Zinfandel Village, which is where some of our affinity communities are located as well. Sorry, Derek, I just kind of wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, thank you for clarifying that. So as you can see here, this is a triple setup. So we've got a bunked, 2 bunked, and then 1 lofted bed here with all of the standard furniture. If we come back out, we'll see next door to this room, there is, I believe around the corner here, a double room. So we've got 2 twin XLs in here, the standard furniture, and then there's closet space across from the beds here. You'll notice the closets, they do not have doors, and so you'll be able to put things in there. You can decide on who gets what space. As we come out and then back around to this other side here, there is a little bit of space, and then we go into the other wing where it's basically mirrored of what we just saw. So it's another separated bathroom with a double vanity, and then off to the side are the rooms. And so we've got, it looks like 2 doubles on this side. So this suite would hold a total of 9. All right, and so that's pretty much Verdot. So we're going to keep on moving on to Sauvignon.
Okay, and just really quickly to answer some of the questions, so far Cab and Verdot are for first-year students. Sauvignon is a larger community, so first-year students, but also transfer students, continuing students can also live in Sauvignon. So coming in here, you see the dining area is right when you come in. Kitchen, full kitchen, also available in Sauvignons with the gas stove again. And folks, the folks who live in these spaces are responsible for cleaning everything inside. So responsible for cleaning the bathroom, responsible for cleaning the kitchen. So this is the shared common area living room space in Sauvignon. In Sauv, the ground floor places kind of have a little bit of an outdoor area, but also there are balconies for the second floor places. So moving in now to the bedrooms. The first bedroom that we're going into here is a single room. So again, all the furniture you see is provided. So the single room has its own bathroom here. All the bedrooms in Sauv have their own bathrooms. So if you have a single room, you live by yourself in the room and you have your own bathroom, and then the closets as well. And when we move over to the double, you would share that bedroom with one person, and then you share that bathroom with just one other person. So that's a nice part about living in Sauvignon. So again, all the furniture you see is provided. So the desks and the dressers and the kind of nightstands there, and then the bathroom for our students. And then the other side, so the other side of Sauv is very similar. So you're gonna see the open, well, I think we're gonna go take a peek at the patio really quickly. So there's lots of green space you'll see over here at Sonoma State. Oh, Derek's gonna zip me ahead. So there's the patio. So you can see you have a nice little view of the green space. People love that about our campus. And then coming out, there's also a pantry area in Sauvignon. So you can see the open pantry door there. So lots of room to store grocery items or things like that, since there are a fair number of folks living here. And then this is our triple room in Sauvignon. So 3 folks would live in this space. So 2 of the beds are up high, and then one would be a lower bunk. So you do have the lower bunk option in a triple in Sauvignon. And then again, so the private bathroom. So 3 people would be sharing the bathroom in that space.
All right, so let's jump on to our next one, which is Tuscany. All right, so Tuscany, these are 6-person suites. They are always 6 in Tuscany, so no variation there. We open up to a large kitchen area with appliances. There's sort of a bar area with chairs on the other side. We've got about 4 stools. Opposite the kitchen area, there's some storage options. If we turn around here, you'll see, you'll get oriented here. So we've got, there are the 4 bar stools there, and then we've got a table with 6 chairs, a living area, furniture, and then there is this back door that opens to a patio, and that's out back. I'm gonna move us ahead a little bit so you can see what the patio looks like out the back of the Tuscany space. And also on the, the Tuscany suites are actually townhome style, so they're first and second floor in one suite. So on the first floor, you'll see we'll open up to a double room that's on the first floor. So it's directly across from the front door when you walk in. This double room has closet space, 2 twin XLs, and a bathroom, standing shower, and toilet and sink. If we go upstairs, you're going to see exactly the same thing that you're seeing right now, basically just stacked on top. So I'm going to go ahead and take us upstairs. So that you can kind of see what that looks like. So you come in the front door, you take an immediate left there, and you'll go up, and then that's where you'll find the mirrored room on top of the first floor. It's another double with 2 twins. And there it is. Okay, so we've seen that. So I want to move us forward a little bit. So that's backing out of that double room. Now I want to show you these other 2 that are across from each other. So this is a single, this is upstairs. This would be over top of the kitchen in that Tuscany apartment. Comes with its own bathroom. And then if we go down the hall across from that, you're going to see a double, and this would have been over top of that living area. All right, so that's the Tuscany apartment. So Liz is going to talk to us a little bit about these next slides.
Yeah. So a lot of questions coming in on the chat about how do you start applying for housing? Well, the first thing is for you to be admitted to Sonoma State University, which I believe the majority of you guys have been. Once you are admitted to the university and accept your admittance, you make the enrollment reservation deposit, and then you also make a $300 housing down payment. So a total of $350 of those deposits. Once we know that you've made that deposit, then we will send you an email to whatever email address you provided to the university. So make sure you're always checking your spam or your junk mail folders, because sometimes our emails will go into, especially like with Gmail, our emails will go into the spam folder. But it's pretty simple. You just make your deposits, and then we'll send you an email letting you know that we can offer you space on campus with instructions on how to. Derek, if you could go to the next slide. Except where you want to live on campus. So some things you guys want to start considering is what the cost is for housing, and make sure that you're able to budget that. Budgets are key this time of year. So listed here, if you guys want to take a screenshot, it's going to show you what the costs are for our continuing students who don't have the meal plans. So that's over in Sauvignon, Tuscany, and Beaujolais. And then our first year students, those costs, so if you're living in those suites that we were talking about earlier, in the Cabernet apartments or the Sauvignon apartments, our first years are required to have an unlimited meal plan. So those costs there show you what the total amount is for the full academic year, including the meal plans. Deadlines to keep in mind, June 1, originally students had until May 1st in order to commit to coming to Sonoma State. Given all the recent stuff that's been going on with our nation, we have extended that until June 1. Housing offers, what I was mentioning before is us sending you an email with instructions on how to complete your online contract. You're gonna wanna do that by the expiration date on that email. Typically it's about a week. If you need extra time, by all means, go ahead and shoot us an email and we can give you an extension, not a problem. Mid-May is when we will start our roommate request. There were some questions in the chat about roommates. If you know a specific person that you want to live with, you can put in that request, again, mid-May, and it's for the room that you live in, not a suite. So some people were asking if If I know of 6 people and we all want to live together, can we all put in a request to live with one another? We don't have a 6-person bedroom, so it's just going to be the actual bedroom that you live with, so a double or a triple. July 15th is when we expect to get out all of the room assignments to the students, and it will be emailed to you. And then August 1st is when the first housing payment is going to be due based off of where you've been assigned. So how do you decide where you want to live? You can select from any of our communities that are available to our transfers or to our freshmen. We have specific communities that are academic communities, such as our ACE program or our First Gen program. So that's a specific community that's in a specific area. Or you could be part of our affinity communities, which would be like Vibes or Unity House. Or you could do like a themed community if you want to be part of our transfer community or the sophomore community or our outdoor adventure community. If none of those are of interest to you, you can always select general housing. So that's a little bit about that. Definitely look at all the housing options that we have on our website so that you're familiar with what type of programming goes on in each of those communities and what's going to fit your needs as the student. So you will then select where you want to live, so what community. This is an example. If I were to select the general housing community, I would then be able to rank what's available in general housing. So general housing, again, is everything. So I'm going to rank Sauvignon double as my first choice, Cabernet double as my second choice, and a sweet double as my third choice. Now, if I was selecting ACE as a freshman, that's only in Cabernet. So I'd be ranking a Cabernet double or a Cabernet triple. Whew, we did it. We got through in 20 minutes. Whew. Oh, Derek, you got to unmute.
Thank you, Liz. So at this time, what I think we'll try to do is maybe hit some of the questions that we're seeing in the chat. I know that there are some common themes that are coming up. And so the 3 of us have been kind of moderating that a little bit, but please do continue to drop those in. We're going to save that chat and then try to make sure that we point everybody in the right direction for those answers. So are there any questions, Liz or Callie, that you all want to tackle that you've seen?
Just one thing I wanted to say really quickly is, so all of, kind of as a general rule, there is an exception to this, but as a general rule, most units are single gender. So in Cabernet, my spaces are all women living in one space or all men living in one space. We have men and women living throughout the community, but the apartments themselves are single gender. And that is a general rule across campus. The Unity House that's in Sauvignon and Tuscany, those spaces are a little bit different, but as a general rule, that's the way it goes. In terms of providing, everything you saw in this space is what is provided. Anything that you didn't see is not provided. So folks have to bring their own cleaning supplies. They have dishes, cookware, linens, printers if students, there are printers in the library if folks want to pay a small fee to print, but if you want one in your space, you would need to bring that too. So anything that you didn't see, you would be bringing.
And I just want to jump in there because I know printers are on the rise for doing like 3D printing, and 3D printers are not allowed within the residential community.
Got it. And then for folks asking about how is the space designated as over 21 or under 21? If there is someone over 21 living in a space, it's an over 21 space. If there isn't anyone 21 living in a space, it's considered an under 21 space. So for me, I have a first year community in Cabernet. Pretty much all of my spaces are under 21 because folks are first year students. Most first year students at Sonoma State are not 21 years of age. So if folks want, over in Derek's area in Tuscany, if someone is 23 years old, they are allowed to have alcohol in their space, but of course all federal and state laws would still apply. They can't provide beer to their 16-year-old brother who is coming to visit for the weekend. And then something to keep in mind is that because we do receive federal funds from the federal government for our for financial aid, marijuana is not permitted on our campus in any form. So that includes if you have a marijuana medication card, we can't have that on our campus because we do have to follow the federal law in regards to marijuana. So any marijuana that you would smoke, eat, tinctures, wax, butter, all of those things cannot come onto our campus.
Hey, Derek, there's some questions in there about viewing the Beaujolais community. If we're unable to view what a Beaujolais room looks like, would that be something that we could email to the students if they contact the Reach office at the email address housing@sonoma.edu? Could we share that YouTube video with them?
Yes, if you would like to request special access to view one of the apartment videos, you can email housing@sonoma.edu and we can share that with you.
Okay.
I also want to go back and mention students who are specifically interested in gender inclusive housing on campus can contact me, and I put my email in the chat. I'll do it again now. That's derek.miller@sonoma.edu. If you are a student interested in LGBTQ plus community housing or gender inclusive housing, you can email me and we can talk.
Some of the other things we're seeing in the chat talk about laundry and safety on campus, breaks, Greek housing. So I want to let you guys know laundry is included in those fees that we had posted earlier. So you're able to use any of our laundry rooms on campus. You don't have to bring extra quarters. You don't have to bring dollar bills. You don't have to bring a debit card. All of that is included within our rates for on-campus housing. Basically, we cover all of your utilities except for your phone. So those are actually pretty good rates then. Another question was with regards to breaks, and you are allowed to stay on campus during our Thanksgiving break and also our spring breaks at no additional cost. The university does actually close down at the end of the fall semester and reopens around January 2nd or 3rd. So for about 2.5 weeks there, no one is allowed on campus. That doesn't mean you have to move out though. You can totally keep all of your stuff in your room, and then you're able to come back onto campus the first part of January. Just need to register with us and let us know that you want to do that. Callie did mention this in some of her presentation, that we do not have a maid service on campus. So I highly suggest, while we are all sheltering in place, you learn how to plunge a toilet, remove hair from any clogged drains, understand what a garbage disposal is and how to use one, and really help your parents out and do some of the cleaning, because you will be expected to do that while you are here. And then I think I had seen one other question with regards to family housing. Unfortunately, Sonoma State doesn't offer family housing. There are a plethora of places off campus within at least a mile of the university, if not closer, that are apartment complexes that students could reside in, fill out either a 6-month or a 12-month contract and live there. So those were some other questions that we had seen. And it looks like some more questions about roommates. Just as a quick recap, students, if you know who you want to live with, you can request your actual physical roommate in the month of May. We'll send you an email with information on that. And if you are totally just going to jump into the waters and like go, I want to live with whoever is, wants to live with me, we will email you in July what your room assignment is, and then you'll be able to view who your roommate is as well as who your suite mates are going to be.
What?
Campus safety, Callie, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, what can I feel very safe on campus. I'm a runner. I run around campus and in the area all the time. I have never really been concerned about safety. I think we have great lighting around campus. There is lighting. Sorry, what you can hear is my cat. The joys of being on a webinar at home. Again, so with the spaces themselves, you use your card to scan into your apartment. There's a PIN code to get into each space, to get into the front door of each apartment. And then the bedrooms, again, have a, you slide your card to get into your room. So it's only the folks who live in the spaces who are able to get into the spaces. It's a real community feel around here. There's lots of people, you know, people walk through with their dogs. I think you'll find pretty quickly that you get to know the folks around you. So I feel like campus is very safe. Rohnert Park is a very safe area. You know, things happen everywhere in the world, but I feel very good about living in this place.
Right. And we have a university police department actually on campus. Their actual physical police department is located in between the Sauvignon Village and also the Verdot Village. So like they're literally right there. So that's great. Yes, there are police on campus. How is the noise level on campus?
Kind of, it depends on the day, and it, you know, honestly, sometimes what we ask is that we ask people to keep to courtesy hours. So we ask that folks be both willing to ask other folks to keep it down when needed, and to be receptive to folks asking them to turn it down. It's all based on courtesy, right? You know, some people have 8 a.m. classes, some people don't have class until noon. So it's a lot of, you know, conversations with your roommates and your folks. We do have quiet hours in the residential facilities, but also sometimes it's nice to be able to have some quiet time during the day too.
So we are at 2 minutes left, just as a time warning. Do we want to talk about pets? There's some questions about animals, since Callie, you brought up that you have a cat.
Sorry.
The other thing that I was going to say is, Derek and Callie, I'm okay. We can all just kind of chill out here after this webinar is done. I know some people need to be excused to go on to the next thing, but we can chill here and continue to answer questions. So sure, Callie, did you want to talk about animals on campus?
Yes. So in general, the only pets allowed on campus are fish in a 10-gallon aquarium.
Shout out to June for sharing that with us. You were correct. Thank you, June.
Other than that, what we allow on campus are service animals. If someone has a service animals are allowed, and also emotional support animals. And then, so if you feel like you require an emotional support animal, you would just need to contact disability support services and communicate with them about what the process is for that. And then all the roommates in your space have to agree to live in that space. So don't worry, you know, if you have pet allergies, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, am I going to show up on move-in day and my roommate is going to have a dog? You don't need to worry about that, because if that was going to be a thing, you would have been contacted ahead of time. So if you have allergies, you don't worry about that at all.
We're going to jump back to safety, because it looks like there is a parent question there. We did talk about it, that we have a UPD, University Police Department, actually on campus. They reside within the residential community. Callie was mentioning that the lighting on campus is very bright. There's always a number of people out walking around. As in anywhere, and I tell this to my daughters, I have a freshman in college right now and a junior in high school. Safety is definitely, as a parent, a #1 concern, but it also should be the concern of the student. So as long as the student is making sure that when they leave their residential community, they leave their space, they're locking the doors, they're locking the windows, they're closing things. We need to get into the practice of doing that. Any theft that's on campus is, what is it called, is theft of opportunity. So seeing a backpack laying on a sidewalk and no one's there, well, you know, it's almost common sense. Like, take security measures into your own hands and be safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so the bedrooms in the spaces do lock. So if you live in a single room, no one else would be able to scan their card to get into your room. And if you lived in a double, it would be you and your roommate who can scan into that room. If I'm going to visit my friend who lives next door, I can't get into their apartment unless they let me in. We do have the blue light phones on campus, and you can get a police escort, but it's based on their availability. So sometimes you might have to wait a little bit if you're looking to get an escort from a police officer, and it would be a walking escort.
Are freshmen able to bring cars onto campus? Yes, absolutely. A parking pass per semester, I think, is $110. That's the number that's coming out of my head.
I believe, yeah, that's correct.
Okay, which in comparison to other universities is cheap. Parking on campus is very easy. We have designated spots for residents on campus as well as students off campus, and there's always parking. Even if you were to park in the most furthest lot, it's what, maybe a 7-minute walk, if that. So parking is good. Let's see, what are some other questions on here? I'm scrolling.
I'm going to jump insurance. I always recommend renters insurance. Some folks, your homeowner's policy for your parents will cover you on campus, but that would depend on the policy. So I do recommend renters insurance.
Tanya asks, do you have a pharmacy close by that one can pick up medication? And I was going to say, we actually do. There are obviously stores that are located in the community beyond the campus, but we also have a health services center on campus across from the housing office, actually, where they do stock a small pharmacy for students to get what they need.
They also sell over-the-counter medications at our health center at very, very low prices, so less than you would pay at Target. So like $3 for generic Claritin for a month's supply. So it's a really nice option. So if you don't have a car, you can still get cold medicine or cough medicine, whatever, those sorts of basic things that you would be looking for. There are bike racks in every community. Each one has a few bike racks. I would recommend you lock your bikes up because it is an open campus. Yeah, those are great options. Lots of folks use our bike racks. The unlimited dining option means that we have what we call the kitchens, which is kind of like a standard dining hall on a college campus. So you come in and and the unlimited dining plan is truly an unlimited dining plan. You can come in 8 times a day if you want to. It's not restricted to once per meal period. So you can come in a lot of different times a day, eat as much as you want each time. There's very specific rules about what you can take out. I think it's like a certain size water bottle full, or like an ice cream cone or something like that. So you don't really take things out of there, but you can eat as much as you like while you're in there. The other dining options on campus, so like Lobo's and WB, Toast, Charlie Brown's, those are places where you can pay cash money, or you can load Wolf Bucks onto your ID and pay in Wolf Bucks. Some of the meal plans also come with what we call dining dollars, which is like an on-campus currency that you can use in certain dining locations. You can also use those in the other locations, but in terms of the unlimited dining plan, it's within the kitchens itself and not the other spaces. You cannot remove food out of the kitchens. So if you want to take food back to your room from Charlie Brown's or from WB, you can do that, but you can't take food out of the kitchens. You can keep a mini fridge in your room, that is fine. But again, so like if you live in Cabernet or Sauvignon, there is a full-size refrigerator in the kitchen. So not everyone, I would say, if you're in the suites, definitely people bring fridges, but not so much in the apartments. And continuous students can buy a meal plan. Those are done by blocks. So you buy like a set number of blocks. I'm not as familiar with those plans, but it's like 50 or 100 meals in a block. And you would just have a declining balance for that.
Yes, you can have mini fridges in your room. Any student who is in a suite, so over in the Bordeaux Village or the Zinfandel Village, while yes, you can have a mini fridge, my recommendation is to not do any dishes in the bathroom sink. So it's the only sink that you have on campus, because the plumbing is designed for a bathroom. So if you decide to warm up that cup of noodles soup in a microwave, don't throw it down the sink. It's just going to clog the sink and make a mess, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I
will just jump in. Over-the-counter drugs, yes, you can keep your own Tylenol, Sudafed, those sorts of things, and you can keep your own prescription medications. So I can bring medications that have been prescribed to me. I can't bring medications that have been prescribed to my sister, right? Because it's considered an illegal drug once it's not in the possession, in the possession of the person who it was prescribed to. So if it's, my drug's great. If it's my mom's that I took out of the medicine cabinet at home, not okay. And then lots of people are asking questions about the housing situation in the fall. Liz, I think you should probably handle those.
So right now we are continuing on our plan that we will resume with in-person classes. We have not been told otherwise at this point. If for whatever reason we are not able to have in-person classes and we continue with online or virtual, the university will provide us direction as to what we will do with the housing down payments for those students who decide that they want to stay home for the fall semester and maybe come back for the spring semester. And my thought at this time is that if we have students who have housing insecurities and need a place to stay during the fall semester, that we hopefully will be able to continue to provide that to our students as we are currently doing right now. But a lot of great questions that we simply don't have the answers for at this point in time. Everything, as you all know, is so fluid and is constantly changing. Right now, we're just trying to plan out every week or 2 weeks in advance because it keeps changing on us. So definitely stay tuned. We'll make sure that we update our FAQs on our webpage with regards to fall 2020. I wrote that down on my notes. And we will be as fully transparent as we possibly can with everybody. But thanks for those questions. I appreciate that. But I don't have a definite answer for you at this time.
And to be clear, we do still have students living on campus right now. Our campus housing is not shut down right now. Nope. We definitely still have people here.
Yep. Yes. Yes, they are occupied. And as you probably have seen in the media, yes, Sonoma State University is working with the County of Sonoma as an alternate care site. We have not had anybody move onto campus at this time that is not a Sonoma State student. What other questions can we answer? We do have bus transportation. Sonoma County Transit.
Comes right up to campus.
Yeah.
And yes, the meal plan, we are still providing meals for our students who are here. Absolutely. I'm eating them most days also. I don't know, do we have a recommended list of things to bring on the website? Is it online list?
We did. I would have to go on and double check. If you do a Google search for Sonoma State, what to bring, that should pull up a PDF as to what students should bring onto campus and what should stay home.
I will add to that, Liz. It's amazing how many things you can Google about Sonoma State and find out. It's also amazing how many times I Google questions in my own office when I'm looking for the answer.
How does getting packages work? So within the Zinfandel community, we have a service desk. It's called the Zinfandel Service Desk, and that is where all packages are delivered for our students living on campus. You'll get an email letting you know that a package has been delivered for you. So if you're getting something from Etsy or from HelloFresh or from Amazon, you'll get an email, and then I believe also a text that says, hey, a package is here for you. So you'll walk on over to the Zinfandel Service Desk, show them your student ID card, they'll pick up your package, you sign for it, and we're done. So it's very, very simple, very easy.
And then in terms of someone said, for students who have temporary physical disability, temporary disabilities can also work with disability support services for students. So whatever, if you have a physical disability, or if it's a learning disability that you need accommodations in class, all of those things go through the same office. So if you end up in that situation, we can definitely talk you through who you would work with to get accommodations for that. So when I talk to students about why they came to Sonoma State, a lot of folks they do mention our housing, not to brag on my own department, but people do really like our housing options. They also like the green space that we have, especially if you're from the LA area. A lot of people really like the green space that we have. My virtual background is on campus. We have a really pretty lake area. It's a very peaceful spot. There's ducks, there's geese, there's big lawns. So there are really nice, quiet places that you can get to on campus, which for some folks, if they're from a more urban environment, they really like that part of our campus. Reserved parking spaces, students buy a parking pass that lets them park in the housing area, but they aren't reserved for specific folks. I don't even have that. So you just buy a pass and you find a spot and park in it. We're not sure if the webinar is being posted anywhere online. I'm not sure how that's working.
We know it's being recorded.
The pools, again, it depends on what happens with the pandemic situation. So all of that is typically the pools would be open in the falls, but it really depends on what happens with the state of the world between now and then. Transportation options, we have the SMART train is about a mile from campus. And then we also, in terms of airports, there is a shuttle bus that runs from the DoubleTree Hotel. That's probably about 1.5 miles from campus. So you can get to either Oakland or San Francisco airport with the shuttle. So those and the SMART train can take you down to San Rafael, where you can transfer to other transportation options at that location.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. Since this is the first time Sonoma State University has done a virtual decision day, how is it going? What do you guys think? I'm interested to know. Crickets. No one can type fast enough. It's great.
It's great.
Awesome.
Oh, yay. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah. We, Callie, Derek, and I had tried doing a webinar. Well, we didn't try. We did do a webinar 2 weeks ago. So maybe that be something that we'll see if we get enough people interested, maybe we can do more of these to help out. Good. Is everybody excited to come to Sonoma State? Yes, I know I was years and years ago.
In terms of competitiveness to get into certain majors, or student villages, excuse me, it really depends on the year, right? If a lot of folks are like, if all of you are like, oh my gosh, I love Cali, I want to live in Cabernet next year, well, that would make Cabernet very competitive for next year. So I think it just really depends on the folks who are coming in. I think that it varies a little bit from year to year. So it's really hard to say, to answer that question.
And where
any on-campus, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, go.
I was gonna say, are there any on-campus places that are off limits to guests?
Any okay, that's off limits?
There's a lot of information on guest policy in housing regulations, which I recommend all of you do kind of go through. And if you have specific questions, like I know Callie talked a little bit about medical marijuana and things like that. We talked a little bit about alcohol. We've talked about pets, and now questions about gas. So all of this information is available if you go online and you look for the housing regulations, and you can actually search and find the specific thing that you're looking for and read about it in terms of what restrictions or, you know, what community standards apply. But as far as if there's anywhere that guests are restricted, what were you going to say, Callie, about that before I interrupted? Or Liz?
Whatever.
I think it's important to know that when you have a guest on campus, that could be a younger sibling, that could be a parent, that could be a BFF from your previous institution or school. It could be your cousin. It could be somebody that you met at the grocery store. A guest on campus is just that. They are your guest and you become responsible for their actions.
Yeah, and that's really important to keep in mind, especially when you consider that you're sharing these spaces with a lot of other people. So you saw some of the apartment and suite options before, where it could be anywhere from 4 to 9 people that are sharing kitchens, sharing living spaces, sharing bathrooms. So when you make the decision to invite a guest over, you want to make sure that you've had conversations with the people that you live with, and you all have agreed upon who is a guest, what does that look like, and what are kind of like your own sort of like house rules when it comes to having guests over. So that's something that you want to keep in mind.
Is there a curfew? Ooh, how?
Yes,
No.
we need everyone to be in bed by 10 p.m. on weeknights. Just kidding.
We do bed checks. Bring your best pajamas.
There's not a curfew. However, there are hours that people need to be quiet, correct? We have quiet hours?
Yes, we do have quiet hours, yeah. Doesn't mean that you can't be out, you know, coming and going. We just want to be quiet because some people like to go to bed early.
Is a hot water pot the same as a coffee pot?
So,
I guess I don't understand the question. I think, is it considered the same thing? No. But I think that you're probably asking in terms of, can you have it in a suite space? And I would need to read the regulations.
If you're asking about something like this, where it's like on a plate and it boils water, is that what I'm thinking of? A hot
yeah, and I
pot?
think that they're probably asking, can they have those? That's usually people are asking about like what's permitted in the suites. And I think that a hot water pot would be allowed and a coffee pot is not, but I would need to double check the regulations in that case, because the difference with a coffee pot is that it's that hot thing that it sits on and that stays hot all the time that it's on. And the difference between that and a hot water pot is a hot water pot turns on until it boils and then it shuts itself off. There's like an automatic shut off with the hot water pot. And so that's why that would be permitted in a suite, while a coffee pot would not be. So how do you get around that? Bring a Keurig, you can do that, or bring a French press, because you can do that with a hot water pot. That's how you can make coffee for yourself in the suites.
Liz?
I was just gonna say, we do not want any exposed coils or any hot surfaces that go unattended, where you could have a piece of paper fall onto it and start a fire. That's the the thought process behind that.
Liz, do you want to answer the question about payments?
Can you make several payments for housing, or do you have to pay all at once? It's totally up to you. Definitely you can check the website to view how payments had worked out for the fall 2019, spring 2020. We'll post the total charge to your account for the semester, and then you can either pay that in full or you can pay in installments.
Are there room checks? I don't know exactly what you mean by that. There are some times in the semester that university folks would be going into your space. We don't do bed checks. I was joking about that. And we don't have, so I've worked at some campuses where we do health and safety inspections throughout the year. There are, maintenance folks can enter a space if there's something that they need to fix. If they're doing fire extinguisher checks, they would enter for that also. If we have a reason to believe that someone is injured in a space, we would also enter for that reason. So we typically try to give notice if that needs to happen. But it can't happen in every situation. If you have a specific question about room checks, we can answer that, but that's kind of my general answer on that. Dining is not open 24/7. I believe dining opens during the week,
6.
usually at 6, and closes at,
No.
the kitchens, I think closes at 9 now.
No. Oh, I thought it was open until like 11 o'clock.
I think that they shortened the hours.
I see.
But Lobo's is open a little bit later. But in terms of the unlimited meal plan, I think
Gotcha.
it might be a little bit earlier in the kitchens now.
Gotcha.
How far is the nearest hospital / emergency care? There is an urgent care very close to campus. It's just across Snyder Lane. But in terms of an actual hospital, I think it's 7 miles to Kaiser and Santa Rosa. But there's also an emergency room in Petaluma that's maybe 9 or 10 miles. So kind of north and south for our 2 hospitals.
And regarding things on the walls, Liz, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you want to do as little damage as possible. So
Yes.
command strips, I think, are a good way to go. Things that can be easily removed with no trace left behind is what we're going for.
Right.
It is possible that if there's damage to walls or significant enough damage, there can be charges for those just based on the need to repair. So you want to make sure you do as little to no trace of hanging anything.
Yep. All right. So holy smokes, that was like almost an hour that we were going. Are there any last minute dying questions, burning questions that you guys have?
I'm dropping my email address in the chat. So no painting the walls really quickly. But I just dropped my email in there. So if you want to email me, I work in a first year student area. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Or you can also email the housing. It's housing@sonoma.edu. If you have general questions about signing up, the actual sign up process. Liz is the master in that department, so she would be helping you with those questions.
No, you guys were great. Lots of great questions.
Yes, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah,
we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
We're looking forward to having you guys as part of our Seawolf family.